I know what you're thinking. And yes, I did wake up like this. I was so cringing. Okay, so hi. I'm always so awkward when I have to film intros. I don't know why, I just am. I don't really have a proper intro. So today I'm going to be doing the reading habits book tag. I was tagged to do this by the lovely Steph over at Coffee Over Apples. So I will leave a link down below of her video, so you should go check that out and go and check out her channel and give her some love. I love doing tag videos, and sometimes I will like read through the questions, especially if like you need a like book to fit each prompt, because I am terrible at coming up with things on the spot. So I haven't actually, I saved the questions and it's already been like a week I think since Steph tagged me, so I've already forgotten most of the questions. This should be interesting. First question is, do you have a certain place at home for reading? Not really. I will read anywhere. I used to do all my reading in bed, but I actually do less so now. I feel like just in the sitting room, just on the couch. When the weather was nice, I was like sitting reading outside, but no, I would just say probably anywhere, but I don't have like a designated spot that I go to read. Bookmark or random piece of paper? Bookmark. I don't have an awful lot of like proper fancy bookmarks. I have, let me just, I never ever had proper bookmark. Like I had like those little, you know, little free ones that you used to get. Like I had hundreds of those just that I used to pick up throughout the years. I got a bookmark for Christmas a few years ago. It's this little metal one, and it's a list of 50 books to read before you die. So it's, I don't know if you can't really see it, but it's, I really like this. This is my go-to bookmark always. I also have this lovely bookmark from the book club I'm part of, which is Let's Get Classical. Check it out on Facebook. But I got sent this lovely little bookmark here. I haven't actually used it yet, but I'm going to use it when I'm reading Wuthering Heights, which I plan to start soon. And also as well, so I guess these are random bits of paper, I suppose. But also as well, the current book I am reading right now, I am using a little thank you note that I got when I won a giveaway over on Instagram. I used this little note as a bookmark for the book that I won in the giveaway, and I just then used it again because I've been reading this book. It's a collection of short stories, and I decided to just, because I'm kind of reading them like randomly, I am just using that bookmark, whereas like this is my normal bookmark, like when, because I don't read an awful lot of books at the one time. I tend not to. I think that's one of the questions, so I won't talk about it too much, but I don't read an awful lot of books at the same time, and if I do, it really depends on what they are. So because this is like a collection of short stories, I thought I would just use this bookmark in here, whereas I keep my good bookmark, my metal one, for whatever I'm currently reading. So yes and no. Most of the bookmarks, always bookmarks, never just like a scrap of paper. Question number 3. Can you just stop reading, or do you have to stop after a chapter or a certain amount of pages? I am a little bit of both, I will admit. I think it's depending on the kind of the moment. It's all about the moment. So if I'm reading a book and I think, right, I'm just gonna finish this last chapter, I will like skip ahead and see how long a chapter is before I kind of decide if I'm going to finish reading or not. If I don't finish at the end of a chapter, I mostly do. I mostly tend to finish at the end of a chapter. If I don't, I find a good spot on the page. So say maybe the end of a paragraph. I always tend to like make sure I've kind of read, like I would never stop like mid dialogue or anything like that. But if I'm reading just quickly and then like maybe I have to go or I have to do something, I will kind of find a good spot to finish at. So maybe like the end of a paragraph I find can be best. Never really, as I say, during like dialogue or anything, but I do tend to like to read up to the end of the chapter, but I will like skim ahead and kind of like look and see how many pages there are to go to decide whether or not I feel like I could read it all in a short amount of time. But yeah, it's organized chaos. Do you eat or drink while reading? Yeah, I do. I will just sit. I saw in Steph's video that she said that she does this weird thing with her hands when she holds books, and I was like, yes, I do that too, and I do it when I'm eating, where I'll get my book and I'll sort of like just kind of tripod the hands and hold it. I tend to more go like this. This is the kind of way that I would hold it, and I spread my fingers like that, and they just kind of, they sit like this, and it's a good way to like read. Obviously then you need to use your free hand to turn the page, but it's just a good way of like being able to hold a book, or kind of do it like this, you know. It's depending on the size of your book. I think it really depends on the size of your book. This is quite a thin book, but I could like do this and have a little cup of tea. Or I do eat, I don't like try to eat over books, I do try to kind of like make sure I'm sitting back, but I do. Question 5, multitasking, music or TV while reading. Okay, so I will say, like, I can have the TV on, but I've seen me reading with the TV on, but I do need to have some form of music, but not music like with words, actual songs. I do love, I don't really like, I very rarely read without listening to something, but it has to be like instrumental music, because otherwise if there's song lyrics, I'm hearing the song lyrics and it's too distracting. Whereas I could sit and listen to kind of just like music, it's kind of like movie soundtracks, instrumental pieces. It has to be wordless. There can't be any singing in it. But I find that it's great. Sometimes I try to find kind of like ambient sounds, ambient music online, and like a big long video or a playlist that sort of fits the theme of the book that I'm reading. So if I'm reading fantasy, I maybe like a bit of fantasy music. When it comes to the TV, I've had the TV on while I'm reading, but I'm listening to music, so the music is drowning out the TV. I'm not a big fan of reading in silence. I don't know why. I very rarely read in silence. I just don't. But it has to be wordless. There can't be any speaking because it will distract me. And sometimes I have been able to read without, like, and just if I really can get into a book, I can completely drown out the sound around me. But I do find that it's very rare actually that happens. It happens sometimes, but not always. Question number 6. One book at a time or several at once? So I kind of touched up on this a few questions ago, but I am very much a one book kind of gal. I can't do it. I couldn't focus. I feel like to give my full attention to a book and to remember everything that's going on, I would just have to be reading that one book. I can't, like, this is, maybe this is different. Like, I could read something at the same time as read this, because this is a collection of short stories. So once one story is over, that's fine. And I think as well, it actually does depend on what I'm reading. So when I was reading, like, I was rereading The Hunger Games. I've started reading the Twilight series for the first time, but I know the story pretty well, so I feel like I could probably read 2 books at the same time. But I'm just the sort of person that once I start a book, I just can't wait to get it finished. So really, to kind of divide up my time and start reading another book, I feel like would just distract me too much, and I feel like I would never get them done. I'm just very much, once I've started a book, I just can't wait until I've finished it. So to start reading something else would definitely waylay me from finishing that book. So I'm a one book kind of gal. There are times where, like, I have got books right now that's like on the go that I should maybe be finishing, like ebooks for example. I'll start ebooks and then just sort of abandon them. But I mean, so that's, I suppose that, but so I have technically got books on the go, but those are basically abandoned, that I may return to them one day. But no, I'm a one book kind of gal. Unless the situation calls for it. Maybe I can read more than one book. Very rarely though. Question number 7. Reading at home or everywhere? Everywhere. I have read everywhere. I mean, at the moment, with Miss Coronavirus, I'm still very much at home a lot of the time. I'm not really going anywhere, so I am mostly reading at home. But I mean, I have from time to time, like, I've read on public transport. I'll read in the car. If I'm sitting waiting for my mom or something, I would like to take a book with me just to read. Yeah, read everywhere, but also I mostly read at home. Reading out loud or silently in your head? Silently in my head. I don't know, I sometimes find, I can't remember what book it was. I started reading a book and I decided to start like reading out loud. Just for something different. And I found that weirdly enough, I wasn't taking it in the same. It was weird. It's like I'm reading it out loud. I'm not taking in the story. Whereas if I'm reading it in my head, I don't know. I don't know what that was. But no, I don't read out loud. Sometimes I'll say things out loud, but very rarely. I'm very much in my head kind of person. Number 9. Do you read ahead or ever skip pages? I have never skipped pages. I would never, ever, like, what? I don't know how somebody could ever actually skip a page, because what if there was some important detail on that page and you've missed it because you decided to skip ahead? Somebody could say something important, or there could be like the author could have inserted a little Easter egg and you've missed it. I would never ever skip a page. How dare you? How dare you? If you do that, that's terrible. But reading ahead, yeah, I have a terrible habit where I'll be like, I'll be like reading, and then, so I'll be like here, and maybe my gaze will just suddenly drift over here to where there's a bit of dialogue or something, and I'll just kind of, I'll like glance at one sentence, then before I know it, I've like basically read the whole page, and I'm like, what am I doing? Why did I just do that? So then I have to like backtrack and reread, and it's like, it's so dumb. I don't know why I do that. I always remember years and years ago when I was a child, I always used to read like the last page. It was so chaotic. I don't know why I would never do that now, because I feel like the only times I ever skip to the last page is just to see how many pages there are in a book, so I could say like, oh, there's 450 pages in this book, I'm on page 400, I only have 50 to go, something like that. Or even when I've like just started, I'm just thinking out of curiosity, like, oh, I wonder how many pages there is. And then sometimes I've accidentally read things, like I've read the last page and I'm like, no, why did I do that? That's always a bit of a risk. It's a gamble, but sometimes it pays off. I'm trying very hard now just to like make sure I glance at the bottom of the page and at nothing else, don't look at any words. But as a child, I used to always flick to the very last page. If I was like, even if I was like a quarter or halfway into the book, I would just skip ahead and glance and I'd read the last page, and it's like, what was I thinking? Why did I do that? Chaotic. Read the book as it was written. Number 10. Breaking the spine or keeping it new. So I'm glancing at all my books. They're all in pretty, I like to keep my books as good condition as possible. I am a very careful reader, although I say that, you know, it's, you start, when you first get a book, I'm very much like this, where it's like, I try to keep the pages like the spine like as close together as possible. I'm very gentle, but by the end you're just like this. It's a bit chaotic. The only time that I ever, not the only time, because I probably did it as a child, but all my kids' books are like, or my young adult, not my young adult, but like my preteen, teenage books are all kind of gone from here now, so I don't really have any apart from one. Look at that layer of dust. It shows you I abandoned this book. A while back, years and years ago, when I first got my Harry Potter set, I had already read the books apart from 2. I'd never read the second one or the 4th one, but somehow I'd read all the other books because my library got them in. And when I got the book set, I decided to read the 4th book, and the way I read it, I basically kind of, you know, when you get, I'm not going to do it, but when you get a book and you basically like flop it like all the way, you flop the pages all the way around, like, did you ever see it? I don't know about like if schools, most schools probably did, but you know, like in school, if you ever had like an author or just somebody coming in to talk and they were reading from a book, they always held their books like that, where it was like the book, I'm going to show you with a notebook because I'm not doing it. Oh, that's fitting, it's Harry Potter notebook. If you pretend that this is an actual book and they would like bring their pages around like this and hold the book like that. Obviously this is a notebook, this has got one of those little whatever that is called, spiral thing, but they would hold their books like this and I would be like, but that's what I did with my book. Instead of reading it like this, I had it flapped right round and I cracked the spine. Do you see the line? Like, these were the most beautiful, we don't support J.K. Rowling in this house, but these were the most beautiful, beautiful books I had got. It was a lovely set of Harry Potter books. All the rest are in mint condition because they've never been read apart from the second one. I finally read the second one this year. They were beautiful books, and look what I did. Can you even see because the light's shining? It's probably not as bad, but look at that line. Just where I had it flopped right back and it cracked. I got dust in my eye because I left this book sitting out. I feel like it's not as bad. I've definitely seen like books much worse than this. It's maybe because it's black and it's right through the wording, if you can see that. I was so disappointed in myself and I've never done it since because it bothers me so much. I can't believe I did that. Never again. So I try to keep my books, I mean, it is inevitable as you're reading, you are kind of cracking the spine a bit, but never to that extreme where it looks terrible. And lastly, question 11. Do you write in your books? No, I do not. I feel like actually taking a pen, pencil and writing, I mean, I get why, I know why some people do it, especially maybe if they're making like book reviews, they want to highlight things. If they're reading a book for the intent of doing like a video on it, maybe like a analogy or whatever, I can totally see why you're like, maybe you're reading a book for like an essay or something and as you're reading you're highlighting things. Yeah, I get that. I think I would much rather use post-it notes, kind of sticky, the little sticky tab things. But even then, peeling them off, I'd be feared that it ripped the page. But no, when I'm just reading for fun, and even if I'm doing like a review, I tend to just kind of try and remember things for a review, unless I know I'm going to be doing a review on the book, which is very rare. But stuff like maybe like the Twilight series, I knew I was going to be doing a video, so I'll maybe like make notes in my phone of different things I want to touch upon. When I'm reading for fun, I don't bother reading. I don't bother reading. That is true. I don't bother reading because I've entered a reading slump again. But I don't bother writing in my books, just in case I wanted to hand them in to like a charity shop. If I was going to get rid of them, unhaul them, I probably will do an unhaul at some point, to be perfectly honest, because I've got, my bookcases are full. So no, I don't write in my books. I don't. No. So that is the end of the questions, the end of the tag. I'm supposed to tag people to do this, but I don't have anybody to tag. I have no friends. You right now watching this video, I tag you. Consider yourself tagged. Consider this an open tag. You're all tagged. Congratulations. So that was fun. I like a tag that's like pure questions, so I don't have to start like bringing out books. I always struggle to find books to fit prompt tags and I end up using the same books all the time. But anyway, so hopefully you got to know me a little bit better as a reader. I'm pretty bland, to be perfectly honest, when it comes to like reading habits. I am quite a basic, I'm a basic bitch. I just do all the regular stuff. Is it raining? No, I don't think so. But I am quite basic when it comes to reading. I'm like less chaotic, I think. I like to think I am. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not as simple as I seem. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I shall see you in my next one, whatever that may be. Goodbye! I really should start a new book. I swear. I swear. Terrible.